anything you want to add to give Lynetta a little more background than that? It's up to you.
Yes, I'm welcome to share about myself. I'm born and raised in Norway. I live in Norway currently, but I've spent the last 7 years in the US, specifically San Francisco. So I've been spending a lot of time over there. I have grown up in a socialist country, kind of followed by everything that comes with that, in the sense that like all of education and everything is just kind of lined up for you. It's like a very set path in which you walk from childhood, adolescence to adulthood, and that's kind of what I've been traditionally following. But I have always consistently had this voice in the back of my head that like, but there's more, but there's more, but there's more. And there's also this kind of underlying thing in our society that is called the law of Yonte. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it.
No, not at all. What
No.
is
I
that?
would love to dive deeper into the law of Yonte. So, essentially,
Wow.
what the law of Yonte suggests, there's 10 rules, and just to give you a few of them, it says something in the lines of you're not to think that you're anything special, you're not to think that you're better than us, you're not to think that you can do what I cannot do, etc., etc. The point is to humble people, to equalize
Oh,
us. But what it does is patronize us essentially. So been living in this society more or less where nobody really dares to dream big because you're
uh,
looked down on and you're kind of frowned upon. It's like, who do you think you are, kind of thing.
yeah. I get the flip side of why that was probably created because of people who would dominate and say, "Well, I'm better than you. I'll tell you what to do." And I get you
Yeah,
don't want to be told that, but then you're crunching creativity at the same time,
exactly, exactly.
which you're rebelling against, and kudos to you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
We
and
fully support your rebellion.
Yeah.
it wasn't so intentional of rebellions either, because essentially what I wanted to do was just to get this creative freedom. And I experienced that for the first time as an exchange student in the US, and I tied my entire identity to the US in many ways. So I've had a
Wow.
push and pull relationship with the US as much as I've had it with like men in my life. So Norway, US, and then men, and all of this generational trauma that I had no idea was even lingering. I was just habitually acting with no awareness, and it damaged a lot of my relationships, and yeah,
Mm.
a lot of the ways in which I have interacted with men, and yeah, I realize I'm going on a tantrum here, and I haven't done like a proper
This is gr
introduction
no,
of
this
it.
is great, Maggie, and yeah, you can start it. And I just want to say,
Yeah.
wow, we are so delighted to talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We
so
love it all. I'm sure we could talk for hours just from what you've shared already.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to
Yeah.
Yes, well, Mark and Lynetta, thank you so much for being on my podcast. Like I said to you guys when we opened up, it's like the more I can learn from the people who have walked the path that I am
Mhm.
trying to walk, the better. So I love the opportunity to talk to you guys together. I have a lot of questions for you, and I hope that you guys are super open and willing to share. But first,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
first, I would
Absolutely.
love for you guys to introduce yourself. Can you please tell the
Ah.
listeners who you are and what you guys are here to talk about today?
Well, I'm Lynetta, and this is my beloved Mark, and we've been married for
12
about
years now.
12 years now, and we live full time in an RV. We've been doing that for about 11 years,
Mhm.
and we love it.
Love it.
Yeah, we travel from, well, we have done the whole US, but now we stay mainly Arizona in the winter
West Side,
and then more in the spring, summer, in the Northern
Pacific
California
Northwest.
and then Northern Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah, and our passion is to help people that are stuck in these patterns that keep repeating, and they know that there's something in the way they want to do. They have dreams, or they have, maybe a relationship they want to be in, or they know that they want to feel better in their body. I mean, in all areas of life, we have been writing about why this keeps happening, what are the patterns. Um, we did focus on most of our time together on relationships because our relationship is one that we want to share as possible for anyone who wants to have intimacy and be loved for being yourself
Mm.
exactly as you are. We can share anything with each other, and we
We do.
embrace we embrace each other for everything, and there's nothing off topic for us. And there's no we don't argue, we don't get into fights. We're always on the same side, and that's possible for everyone if they have the tools.
Right. Yeah.
So we have provided that for couples and singles. But now we're going more into like all areas of life. And I'll let Mark introduce himself now.
Yes. Both of us have, so we met 12 years ago at a workshop on interpersonal relationships on all different dimensions. And we've both been on lifelong journeys. We both have trauma in our backgrounds and religion, strong Western religion in our backgrounds. Mine more by choice, Lynetta's more by not choice, which we have left. So our life has kind of been both, I'd say, a healing journey and a spiritual or self-development journey.
Mm.
And in particular, which is kind of like almost everybody's goal, is like the ultimate relationship journey. Like this is my second marriage. I'm Lynetta's fourth marriage. Like we've both been on that. What's the ultimate way for two people to be in relationship where there's no sacrifice, there's no compromise, there's no finger pointing, no making anybody wrong, that
Yeah.
everybody just feels totally seen, heard, loved, appreciated for all of whom they are. And there's
Mm.
not even a standard of what's the way somebody's supposed to be. It's just like full appreciation for every aspect of Lynetta. And I know intimately her past, what she's gone through, all the ways she dealt with it, that, now you'd say, oh my God, that's horrible that you did some of those things. But it's like, oh my God, she did all that just to survive. I totally get it. I don't know. I would have
Wow.
survived what this woman has gone through. In fact, I'll be honest with you. There is not another woman in the world that I admire more than Lynetta.
Mm.
Not a single one,
Mm.
knowing everything I know about her.
Mm.
You
And
guys,
that's not to say things don't come up. Sometimes she gets a little pissy.
Yeah.
Things come up. It's not like we're not human. We don't have emotions. We don't have thoughts, limiting belief. We're still dealing with that stuff, and we
right.
expect we'll be dealing with that every day for the
For
rest of our
sure.
lives.
Yeah.
And it's the most amazing life I've ever had.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You guys
Yeah.
are adorable. It makes me so happy to see you guys. And I also want to mention, okay, I've been going down a rabbit hole lately of all of the contents of Alice and Armstrong. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Alice and Armstrong and the Queen's Code and the Keys to the Kingdom and anything like that.
Oh, a little bit.
Yes.
A
A little
while
bit.
ago, I looked at
Okay.
it. Yeah.
What I'm noticing between the two of you now that I've kind of been going down this rabbit hole is that you chose a word there. You said that there's no one that I admire more than Lynetta. And so in this book, it actually suggests that there's nothing men want more than admiration from women. Is that true?
I think everybody, both men and women, both want to be appreciated for who they are, honored for who they are. I don't know that's men versus women. I don't think it's any different for women. Would you say so?
Well, I'd say that what I've seen, the most powerful healing tool that we have is acknowledgments,
Mm,
and everyone wants to be acknowledged
right.
and appreciated and seen for their greatness. And the more we see their greatness, they just shine even more. That's what's
Yes.
happened with me. Mark just keeps shining me up, and I keep showing up more. Because everything, even when I think it's really negative, he'll say, "Of course you feel that way." He just acknowledges it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Of
Yes.
course you feel that."
Yeah. Oh my
So
God.
I'd say for both men
Okay.
and women, I don't
So
I don't see a
maybe I should
difference.
rephrase the question because I want to make sure that I'm touching on what I'm really trying to understand here, because it is kind of like this underlying suggestion that everything men do, they do it for women, essentially, for the
Ah,
kingdom. They do it they want to impress their woman and only their woman, it seems like, especially when committed. But of course, I also recognize that there's always going to be a spectrum of this and people are different.
yeah.
But so what I am curious about though, because what I've noticed in the more I understand that there's a difference between how men and women interact in certain situations, how they think and interpret interpret things, I want to say is maybe the key word here, is that the way that we interpret things are different. And what I'm understanding is that I'm almost feeling as though I have been misunderstanding what men's intention have been when they've been doing certain things or showing up in a specific way, because I've been so intimidated by it that when a man is kind of like big or strong or shows up in a way that makes me almost feel intimidated, it's actually a way in which men show expression of happiness, but it's so masculine and big that it almost seems intimidating to certain women. At least I want to emphasize on the fact that maybe that's especially how I felt myself, because I have been kind of afraid of wishing for that big grand love that you guys talk about because of limiting beliefs. Probably, I'm sure that is the reason why. So to someone like me who almost struggles to hold space for it all because I'm almost worthy, not worried that I might not be worthy, what did you guys had to go through in order to really hone in on that? Like, no, I'm definitely worthy of the love that I want. I don't have to earn it here.
Yeah. Okay. Can we invite you to discard the word worthy?
Oh, interesting. I would love to understand why, but
Because
challenge.
worthy implies you have to do something to be worthy, to earn it. So earn it and worthy are no different. We don't use that at all. Where we go is we just say, we do believe in a creator, and we'll use the word God, but not in the traditional at all.
Okay.
So we would say, God created us to be creators, which means we can create anything we want and we can have anything we want just because we want it.
Not because we're worthy,
Yes,
because
yes.
We
want
don't need to prove
Yeah.
to ourselves, to others, to
Right.
God, nobody. We can just decide, here's what I want in my life.
Yeah.
Here's the kind of relationship I want, and I'm going to have it. And in fact, we both made declarations a couple years before we even met about what we wanted for our next ideal relationship. And we didn't say, because I'm worthy, I deserve it. Like none of that. We just said, here's what I'm going to have. In fact, I made a declaration. I had a previous relationship that was ending. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you know what? You're a great catch. And if it's not this woman, it's going to be somebody even greater. And it's going to be somebody who is loving and powerful. Now, loving I had, but by powerful, I meant somebody who would own all their own stuff and not do finger pointing at me, which previous relationships had done. So they'd have to have done their work. And to be honest, I had never seen it. I had no idea what that was going to look like. But I just made a declaration. This is what I'm going to have.
Yeah.
And until I met Lynetta, I hadn't seen it. But I recognized it when I saw her.
Oh, well, yeah. How did you recognize it when you saw it?
Well, I'm pretty much an open book, so I did share with him everything I'd been through, probably in the first night,
Second night.
or second night.
We kind of made out the first night.
Made out the first night, yeah.
The second night we talked.
The second night we talked, and I shared with him what I had been through, but what he heard was I had been through that and where I was now.
Yeah.
When I heard her stories of the kind of trauma and, her earlier life, what she had lived, first of all, I was like, wow, this is the kind of stuff I might have seen in a movie or on a TV show, but I had never met anybody who had actually lived it and come out the other side. And I was like, wow, the strength of character, just even the will to live of this woman is like, I mean, I said to her, and this is not just, me making a, nicey statement. Like, I doubt I could have survived what you survived. And I truly mean that. I mean, she went through some real horrors. We're not going to get into it here.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's like, wow.
And I had declared what I wanted based on past relationships that were not the way, I made out basically a list of things that I absolutely wanted and what I didn't want. So I took the good things from past relationships, the things I liked about these guys, and then I also took out what I didn't like about those relationships. So I had my list, what I want, what I don't want, and Mark filled that list to the T and extra things that I
Yeah,
didn't
we both had
know.
bonuses from each other that weren't on our lists.
Yeah.
Like Lynetta sings beautifully, and I love her singing. It wasn't on my list, so it's like, oh, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
And he sings Hebrew.
Oh,
He can
Oh,
sing the whole Hebrew Bible.
Bible.
And I was
wow.
like, I love that. I
That's
love
great.
hearing him sing in Hebrew. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love everything that you guys just said. And I must say that, am I allowed to be a little bit like happy that everything I hear from you guys are things that I've sort of started to implement? I have also written a list of what I want in a relationship.
Great.
I did that after. So I had a very long, I had a 3 year relationship that was kind of like the toughest push and pull of my life. When I really understood that all of what I have ever done was a result of attachment wounds that I had never identified or even been aware of, like repeating essentially. And once I
Mhm.
became aware of it, once it was a language for it, now I could only do so much. But to begin with, I had to just understand it to change it. You can't change something you don't understand or comprehend. And that's when
Mhm.
I started doing the same things that I understood that, okay, here's what works, here's what doesn't work. And I also noticed that there was a specific type of man that brought out the best in me, and there was the kind of other men that brought out that made me want to be smaller. So I was trying to look at all of these aspects. So I must say that it's good news to know that I've kind of started to do some of these things as
Mhm.
well. So I'm happy to hear that that was a strategy that worked for you guys. So, Lynetta, without going into details about what happened to you, what I do wonder then is, was there ever a time where you were kind of so broken down by everything that had happened to you that you didn't believe that love that you wanted existed? Or were you always trusting that that was there?
Well,
Um,
well, let's go further back than that.
yeah.
Let's go to the
Okay,
core about just the will to live.
okay,
You really need to go there.
Um, yeah, well, for a long time, I didn't have that strong will. There was such a time where there was depression
yeah,
and where I couldn't even get off the couch, apathy, which apathy is like, if you've ever seen I don't know if you know David Hawkins, but he has a whole scale of, you know,
Power versus force,
power
different
versus
energy
force,
levels.
energy levels.
okay, yeah, I'm familiar.
Apathy Apathy is the very lowest. You
Okay,
can't do
yeah,
anything from there.
oh my
And
God,
I was in that state for quite a while, thinking there was nothing I could do. I was, living in my parents' home and they required me to live a life that wasn't true to me.
right,
And I wasn't allowed to be Lynetta.
oh,
And I found other relationships that were also mirroring that. Like these guys, I would just be the chameleon, and I would mold myself to their life
yeah,
and become what I thought they wanted.
mm.
I was a
Yeah,
great
oh,
codependent and a people pleaser and insecure attachment style, you
yeah,
know, always trying to make, I thought I had to find what they needed the most and fill that,
yeah,
and then they would keep me. That's all I was hoping for. At least they
yes.
would keep me around, like a pet, you know?
I feel this on deep levels. I'm like, okay, yeah, stabbing the wounds. Yes, I feel this.
Yeah. And so I went through so many because, see, another thing I had is I had nightmares at night that were so terrible that I could not sleep alone. So I
Mm,
had to have somebody in bed with me,
mm,
which made it like impossible to even have a gap in between relationships. I would have my next guy ready before I let go of the last one.
yeah,
So it's kind of like, Tarzan with the vines.
yeah,
You're not gonna let go of this one until you got the next one.
yeah.
And I always had to have somebody in bed so I could sleep, even because of those nightmares. Um, and so I just kept going from one guy to the next that had the same family,
Mm,
familiar patterns that reminded me of home. And I was trying to make it better because I knew how to operate with that kind of guy, which was usually avoidant style.
right.
Um, he wasn't
Couldn't
available.
communicate.
He wouldn't communicate, didn't know what his feelings were, didn't even know how he felt about me a lot of times. Those, like, and alcoholics, addicts, I was just like magnetized to them.
Yeah.
And I kept going next to the next to the next, and I counted like seven major heartbreaking relationships that I did get very involved with that
Mm,
not just the ones I married, but they were significant time, like 5 years or more with these. And I still just knew I wanted to be in a relationship. Even when I went into codependency 12-step meetings. I did that for a
mm,
while. And they said, you should really take a year off relationships. And I
mm.
was like, oh no, I'm not. I'll do everything else, but I am not going to take a year off. And I insisted on having relationships. But by the time I got to, um, right before Mark, I decided I really didn't know anything about love.
Mm,
That I was like, because I was so disillusioned. The last guy, I thought it was absolutely the most beautiful, it was spiritual. It was like almost everything that I could dream,
yeah.
except he chose his mother and his ex-wife and his kids before me. So I was like five
Mm,
in the line of importance. And so after that one, I was like, I don't know what love is. I gave up. I was on my knees going, I have no clue. And that's when I started going to these workshops that show you how to have your boundaries, your yes, your no, how to make requests, how to ask, to get consent. Make
yeah.
sure you have consent.
Yeah.
Like, and that I could say no was new to me. I didn't even know that it was possible for me to have my no. And I'd say that was the most important thing that I learned there. And then Mark, when he came into my life, he showed me more about love than I had
Mm,
ever dream possible with, of course, this is like to me, it's his signature way that he helped me heal the greatest is by saying, of course you're upset. Of course you're hurt. Of course you're whatever. It was always, of course, like, I get it. I see you. I totally, only compassion,
mm,
only empathy. It was just, that to me is the greatest love. If somebody can look at no matter even the things that you think are bad about yourself,
yeah.
if your partner can look at you and say, of course you're angry, of course you're hurt, of
Mm,
course you're upset, it just softens all that. And then
yeah.
then I started doing it for myself. Like, of course you're upset, Lynetta. It's okay. You know. And along with all this, there was a lot of inner child work,
Yeah.
reclaiming lost parts of myself, the parts that disassociated,
Mm,
and bringing all those parts back. Recently, there's a family constellation is something that I've renamed it Family Field, and it's about looking at your ancestry and giving back to your ancestors what isn't yours. That a lot of these patterns were passed down to you and they're not even yours. As children, we're like little sponges and we just absorb all the patterns and
Yeah.
then we want to work them out for our parents. We want to be the big adults. We want to work it out. We want to take it all on, but it's not ours to take on.
Yeah.
So when I learned how to just give that back to my mother and say, Mom, this is between you and your mother. I wash my hands of it. It has nothing to do with me. And I turned in the opposite direction forward towards my life. And the relief, oh, that just came off of my shoulders. I had been holding all the ancestry, all of the stuff that they didn't finish. Their unfinished business came down to me, especially as the oldest
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
And I gave that responsibility back. I take what's mine, but this is yours. And wow, that is powerful work to do.
I am kind of speechless a little bit because I feel like you just completely opened up my eyes to the little missing piece that I've been wanting lately.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing all of this because what I have been struggling with is to let go of what is not mine, what is not my
Yes.
battle in the attempt,
Yes.
like in my own self-regulation journey or whatever you want to call it. Of course,
Yes.
I have been tracing down the steps for myself and understanding my patterns. But once you do that, you also want to justify your parents. So you start going down their rabbit hole too. And so I've been going down both of their rabbit holes of however they came to be what they are. But I
Yeah.
got to let go of the battle. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You're carrying a load that's too heavy for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you shouldn't be carrying it, period.
Yeah.
It's none of my business.
It's not yours.
Not yours.
Oh
Mm-mm.
my gosh, that was so liberating without even really having to give so much effort to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just awareness at the end of the day. When you're aware that you're doing it, it's so much
Mm-hmm.
easier to do something about it.
Yeah. And if you tune in to your own, I don't know if you know muscle testing or just tuning in and getting yes or no answers and trusting that internally. Do you do that? Are you able to really tune in and get a yes or a no?
I
If you ask yourself a question, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done a specific exercise, but I do wonder how intuitive I am. I kind of want to say yes, but I don't know the language.
Yeah.
But I do pray. I'm very religious and I do pray and I do feel like God answers all the time. So I'm definitely listening.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So one thing you could ask, tune in when you're alone and
Yeah.
ask what percentage of this is mine and what percentage is my ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just, is this mine or is this somebody else's?
Yeah.
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 Very often I will come to the conclusion that this is
It's not. Yeah.
This is so interesting. I love talking. I love this conversation. I also love the way that I'm noticing how you guys interact with each other because you look at each other with so much compassion. And you also have this
Mhm.
very beautiful cliche that people say that you glow when you're happy. And of course,
Yeah.
you guys are older than I am, but you guys have as much of a glow as a 29-year-old. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this is it's really beautiful to see you guys. And
Thank you.
I'm trying to think of like other things that I want to because now I want to be like a sponge and just suck up all of this information. And I don't know to what extent it's interesting for you guys at all if I share about my own love life right now. If you guys
Oh,
Sure,
yes,
100%, please.
Okay,
We'd
got you.
love to hear that.
Yeah, so when you were talking, there was a specific situation with because I have a boyfriend. It's a long distance relationship. We have known each other for about 2.5 years. We lived together for about a year. Like kind of, I was the next door, but I was spending a lot of time at their house. So we have essentially lived with each other for a year, about a year. So we know each other pretty well. But what I found to be the hardest part for me in the beginning when I had kind of started entering a relationship that I knew for a fact that I was safe in because this is first and foremost my friend. So there was no risk in a sense that I knew that this guy cared about my heart, if that makes sense. But some of the things that I found really hard was when I was going to bring up kind of like setting boundaries or kind of bringing on the table like because I remember there was a very specific conversation where I was like, because I get the sense that because a lot of my girlfriends too talk about how they always feel like they're nagging, but what they really want to do, what their intentions are, is to understand each other better. So I try to approach it with that situation or with that mindset, anyways, of like, hey, my intention is to get as close to you as I possibly can with these questions, essentially. And I found it to be helpful. But what I found to be the scariest was when I brought up like, hey, here are the responsibilities that I believe I have as a girlfriend, and here are the responsibilities that I believe you have as my boyfriend. Is that a responsibility you're willing to take? That was one of the most nerve-wracking things for me, because the part that I'm afraid of is what happens if they say no, they don't want to meet me on those needs and those demands, or meet me there, that I have to walk away. For me, the hard part is not settling for less. That has been the hard part.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's your turn.
Yeah. We might change the languaging of that a little bit.
That's fine. My language.
We would probably not say these are my responsibilities and these are yours. We look at everything in terms of what I want and what I don't want.
Right.
So we would say more simply, here's what I want in my life, and here's what I don't want. And, the background to all this is there's no right or wrong about
Right.
any of this.
Right.
There's no ultimate standard from religion, God, society. What's the system called again? The one that you mentioned?
The
What
system.
was the word with all the
The kingdom,
Oh, the keys to the kingdom.
keys to the kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
No?
the
Attachment.
Norwegian word you
Oh,
mentioned.
the law of Yonte. The law of Yonte. Yes.
Yante.
Right. So there's no laws of Yonte. There's just like, what do I want? What do I not want?
Right.
And
Yeah.
total neutrality. And then you do the same. What do you want? What do you not want? And then you take out any make sure there's no judgment there.
Right. Yeah.
And then what you do is, after everything's been expressed, our goal is what we call workability. Instead of saying, well, you're wrong if you don't want to do that for me, it's just like, okay, I hear what you want and don't want. How can we work it out so both of us
Right.
get what we want? Not in terms of either compromise or sacrifice. Like, we don't use those words at all. We don't believe in that, because that's really a lose-lose, saying you're not going to get everything you want. I'm not going to get everything I want. And let's pretend we're all happy about that.
Yeah, no.
We're not.
No, yeah.
Nobody's happy about that. So we don't work with that standard.
No.
Our gold standard is what we call workability. And and one way I look at it is, Lynetta might want something that's maybe not a desire of mine. And instead of that being a problem for me, I could say, okay, you do whatever, or we'll do whatever. Like, we'll go to Unity, for example, even though it's not in my highest pleasure. And sometimes I'm doing these things because I want to honor her. Not that I'm ignoring my needs and saying, oh, I'm going to have to sacrifice myself. But it's like, oh, if it's that important to you for you to do whatever, or for us to do whatever, and it's not really a problem for me, it's just not my preference, then I'm going to honor you. I'm going to be an even greater love to you by, providing this, again, if it's workable for me.
So
Does
what
that make
makes
sense?
yeah, it makes perfect sense. I guess my question is only like, what makes you want to continue to do it? Because it sounds like what is like a common thing in society today is that it's as if men don't even want to do that for their woman. And it's, I suppose, from what I'm understanding, is that it's because of a reflection of how women treat men. So what is it that Lynetta does that makes you want to continue to show up for her and to do these things because you want to honor her? What is it about her that you want to honor?
Well, both of us have a commitment to each other. We're
Mm,
both on a similar, I would call it a spiritual path, a self-growth path, if you want,
mm,
that we both want for ourselves to start, for us to grow into the most magnificent human beings both of us can be. So,
mm.
both internally and in what we offer other people. We're both very, very aligned in these ways. We have some significant differences, but that totally aligned.
We had 7 trainings and workshops that we had done prior to each other that were the same.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we met the second night when we talked,
That's not the talking night.
the
Yeah.
talking night, not the
Yes.
makeout night,
Mhm.
and we found out we had been trained in a lot of the same consciousness work, energy work,
Mhm.
healing work,
Mhm.
communications work. And we neither of us had met anybody with the same toolboxes that we
Mhm.
had. So once we got in relationship, which was within a couple of
We
months,
had a common language that
we had
was
common tools, common language to deal with anything that came up.
Mhm.
And we discovered we were like really on these totally parallel paths,
Mhm.
Yeah.
healing from our traumas, from religion, and just trying to be the greatest us we can be and be in service to the world.
Yeah. Like workability is an amazing foundation that comes from landmark education,
Mhm.
our transformation training
Yeah.
that we had. Workability is awesome because it's not morality.
Yeah.
It's it's not good, bad, right or wrong.
No.
That's taken off the table.
Yeah.
It's what do we want, what do we don't want, and
How do we work it out?
how do we work it
So
out?
Yeah.
everybody gets what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you against the problem, not each other.
Yeah, it's like, and when a problem comes up, like something from the past,
Yeah.
it's like triggers are always there, especially if you've
Yeah.
got stuff from the past, and everybody does.
Yeah.
Um, what would happen when something would come up is we'd say, okay, I'm feeling triggered now. You did X. I felt Y. Notice we never say, you made me feel like
Mm.
banished. Never do that.
Yeah.
So you did X, I felt Y. I recognize that that feeling is a trigger from my past.
Mm.
Mhm.
Now, I never would finger point. Lynetta never finger points, even though we feel triggered. And then we would team up on the same side and we say, okay, how do we help me deal with what's going on now, but more importantly, what's in our background that's causing this to be a problem now?
Oh,
Now,
Mhm.
we have the tools. Most couples aren't going to have the tools to go backwards and deal with the source of the trouble. That's where they're going to need professionals.
right.
Mhm.
But we do have the tools. So we would team up and say, okay, we would say clear you or clear me on that past trigger, which would usually take care of the present issue. Sometimes we still have the discussion. Okay, now that we've cleared it, okay, I still don't prefer this, I prefer that,
Mhm.
and then we go to the workability.
Right.
So it's like we recognize problems here, we go underneath to the source, clear that out energetically, then come back to here and deal with the issue.
I
And in
love.
fact, I even wrote a guide. It's available on our website. When you love her and nothing works.
Yes, I saw that actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's specific, and actually we detail a 5-step process. When something comes up, instead of, arguing and escalating and all that, it's like, here's what you do. Step 1, you breathe, just center yourself, you remember the love, and then you identify what's going on.
Mm.
And then step 4 is saying, hey, once you identify this as a trigger, you're probably not going to have the tools. You're going to have to go to a professional,
Mm.
and if you don't have one, well, we offer those services. Then once we've said, okay, so you're going to have to put that aside, we still have to deal with the what do we do right here.
Mm.
And then there's a way to approach that. There's a 3-step process to deal with, okay, how do we work this out right now?
Right. Yeah.
So that's in this guide, for example.
This is so eye-opening for me in so many ways. Very validating. I really enjoy learning from you guys. I noticed that one thing that came to mind when you said all of this was I remember having an argument with my partner actually, and when it comes to all of this, like taking accountability, or to own up for your own what is yours in this
Right.
instance. And I remember there was a time he told me that I understand that you have a lot of like that you have a lot of trauma and bad experiences from the past, but at what point am I no longer taking the blame for, essentially, or like when is it no longer going to be the reason why you and I are arguing? And I remember being kind of taken aback by that back then, because I was like, that's a very valid question to ask. And I was happy he asked it too, because it almost set like a tangible timeline on like how long can I do this for with it being acceptable even, or was I even aware that I was doing it? And the truth is that I wasn't. I was just trying to explain my reaction. I was just trying to explain like when you did this, I just had this past experience of how I was treated in a situation like that, and I projected that onto you, and I thought you were going to treat me the same. I thought this was that, and that means you were going to do the same and not take it into account that I'm dealing with a completely different person. And so it's very refreshing and liberating that to have someone question my my methods too. Someone willing to ask the questions and kind of
Now, if he could join you in going back to the past with you, see, this is what I actually created before I met Mark. I had this vision of this man that would be, he would go with me into all my childhood memories and help me heal every single one. And Mark does that. So if you have a partner who will go with you and help you heal that with love and compassion and bring those little younger parts home and heal them and give them love, then your part, that's what when Mark was sharing that we partner up together to help each other through it. So then your partner wouldn't be saying, well, how long is it going to take you
to
because
fix yourself,
to fix yourself by yourself,
so you stop burdening me with your past problems.
Yeah, you see, like you partner together to do that, you know.
Right. I do I can then very gladly share that so since November I have been writing my book about all of the stories of kind of failed relationships, or all of my love stories. Essentially, it's all of them, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. I've shared all of it and where it's coming from and my upbringing and all of that. So this is like a 200-page book. And he asked me if I wanted to read it for him. So for the past 2 months, I have been reading each chapter on these phone calls. So like once a week, we've been going through these chapters, and I've been sharing all of where it's coming from. And it's been very liberating, because it kind of confirms this theory that when men choose a woman, they take the whole package. It doesn't matter what happened or what shaped her. He's taking her for what she is. And that's very much what this feels like, because no matter how many devastating things I revealed about bad things that I've done in my life, been honest about decisions that I've made that I'm not proud of at all, on the contrary, I'm shameful for, to have him tell me that none of that matters. What matters to me is who you are today. That was
that's good. That's a good sign.
That's a powerful man.
Yeah. I feel really lucky. I do feel like this is a safe space for me to elevate my heart, because it kind of goes back to the things that I'm fearful of, is like all of the abandonment issues, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of the word I'm not supposed to say. And understanding that like what it is about is actually for me to expand my ability to receive. I think I also observed a mom who just did everything. She did all the chores. She just did everything herself. She didn't want to receive any help because she didn't think she would get it. And that has to do with her own wounds. And somehow I've just adopted this thing that I have to know absolutely everything that needs to be done in a house, because that's what men need. So what I failed to notice is that, like, no, men wants to be helpful. Men wants to feel useful. And wants to be there for you. So why am I robbing them of the opportunity to help me?
Yes. Actually, I want to elaborate that on a moment.
Please
but before we
do.
get to that, one thing you said is about shame about the past. That's another thing we don't believe in at all. Shame or guilt. And there's a reframe you can do with of course, like Lynetta suggested, that it's like, hey, who you were from where you came with, without the tools that maybe you have now, it's like, of course you did what you did.
Yeah,
How could you have done otherwise?
right.
Yeah.
So why should you even be ashamed or embarrassed
Yeah.
or feel guilty? How could you have done otherwise?
Did the best with what tools, little tools that you had
Or
at
none.
the
You know, I mean,
Nope.
some of the stuff that happens to us when we're children, what tools do we have as a child?
We
None.
don't.
So
Right.
we adapt, we make patterns. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, do people end up getting hurt or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how could it have been otherwise coming from where we came?
Right.
So really, why should you carry shame? Why
Mhm.
should you carry
Yeah.
guilt?
Yeah. No, I completely understand that question, and I battled with it for a long time until I realized that I guess that is one thing I was able to let go of. I was just like, it's not mine to carry anymore. It's not who I am. The person that
Right.
those things. It's and also forgiven myself for that for not knowing what I knew or understanding where that behavior came from and recognizing
Mhm.
that although I knew better technically when it comes to some of the things that I did, I still didn't know why I was doing it because in my head I didn't
Mhm.
actually think it was that bad until I understood how hurtful it was to others. And that took me a while to recognize. And that is also an awareness I had to kind of forgive myself for in present time to just be like, don't be so hard on that version who didn't know any better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
There is wisdom though too in okay, so I want to dip a little bit into our soul view, what we
Okay.
call our soul view.
Yeah.
So what we understand about once we are transitioning and we leave this incarnation
Mhm.
is that we have a life review. And in that life review, you actually feel all any hurtful things that you did to other people as though it's happening to you.
Uh-huh.
And and you feel it like it's really happening to you, and you see the ripple effect, how they went out and they went home and kicked the dog or yelled at their children
Oh,
because of the hurtful thing. You see the ripple effect. You see and you feel it. And that is what has us go, oh my gosh, I will not do that ever again.
yeah.
And what if you live that way? What if you live that way now, not just waiting until, when you transition and have a life review, but what if we do that right now and go, wow, I can see how that impacted them and that hurt them. But instead of turning it into shame, turn it into, oh, I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
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 can I go back to the thing you said
Please.
about men and women?
Yeah.
So I was at a conference out in California, something called orgasmic meditation. And it was mostly women. It was like an auditorium with several hundred people, three quarters women, I think, about a quarter men. And the speaker made a statement. She said, women have no idea how much men want to give to them. And when she made that statement, all the women there were like, oh,
Yes,
like it
it's true.
so hit them, the
It's
truth
true.
of that men really want to contribute to women. There's a
Yeah.
huge truth there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about it? Like in what ways do you love to show up for women? Like I feel like I'm missing the clues. I feel like I think I'm being helpful. Like I cannot emphasize how many times I apologized for a man helping me. Like my boyfriend now, I remember when he helped me move when we were just friends, like how guilty I felt for asking for help and how many times I had to thank him because I felt like I was a burden for asking him to help me move.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So that goes back to our childhoods when either our needs were met or not met. So in most of our cases, it sounds like not met.
Yeah.
And then we decided, oh, there must be something wrong with us for having needs in the first place.
Yeah.
That's usually most people's go-to.
Or we saw our parents struggling and, struggling just to survive. And we took it on and said, oh, I'm a burden to my parents, which all of my siblings, all of us said that we must be a burden to our parents. You know, And so we pick that up and then we think, and then I carried that forward thinking that I must be a burden to
Yeah.
everybody.
Or we might be ridiculed for our needs.
Mm.
You know, we made something known and they were like, "Oh, that's stupid. You shouldn't want that. You shouldn't need that.
Yeah.
Go do it. Go do it yourself. I don't have time to give that to you." Whatever.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
some way, either having the needs or asking for our needs was made wrong by us or by them.
Yeah.
And then here we are as adults, and it's like, well, better. I mean, I said this for many years. Better that I don't have any needs at all, or that I minimize my needs,
Yeah.
or that I provide for my needs and don't involve anybody else, because it hurts so much to be told you don't matter, your needs don't matter. You
Yeah.
know, there's so much hurt we have from the past about however that manifested for us that, you know, getting another no, oh, you need that, you want that from me. Oh, I'm not going to do that for you. Why would I do that for, you know? And it's like to get another no, it's like, "Oh my God, I don't want another no."
Yeah.
So it is so hard for us with those kind of backgrounds to ask for what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm learning so much, or just getting more kind of refill on things that I'm already starting to understand. I think that's kind of the beauty about like going down the rabbit hole of like self-development journeys, is that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things you hear, the first time you hear it, it's like your mind is blown. And then, but you don't necessarily even know how to retell it to someone else when you're trying to explain how your mind got blown.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
understanding that this is one of the reasons why I keep having a podcast too, because I want to continue to have the conversation, continue to
Mm-hmm.
embody through conversation too, because I know that there's a lot of things that we can read and grasp the idea of, but that doesn't mean we even know how to retell it. So I find this to be incredibly helpful and validating. Is there anything you guys are burning in with that you want to share, that you want to talk about? Any specific topics?
Oh gosh, this whole conversation is a burning share. Like everything that we're talking about. I think one thing that I'd like to be really vulnerable about,
Okay.
Mark and I have been trying to learn marketing, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
How do we master this marketing thing? How do we get people, you know, that
Yeah.
are in alignment, that really want this, and how do we deliver it in a way that, you know,
And how do we get financially
and
supported by it?
supported by
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you know?
The big question.
Of course.
That has been just rolling around for so long until I'm like, you know what? We need to talk about what we're most passionate about and what really is the deepest part of our, you know, when I go deep inside, what I find I'm most passionate about is I want people to know how much they're loved
Mm.
by a creator, and I don't care what you call that by,
Um,
but that loves you so much that
yeah.
if you really knew that and you felt it in every cell of your body, and you know, like I've heard some experiences, near death experiences, where they go there and they
Mm.
feel that love
Yeah.
from, and they just come back feeling like they're in heaven.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. Anita
Mhm.
Marjani is one of mine, and she wrote this book, Dying to Be Me.
Mm.
And she says that it's no different for her to be in heaven or be here on earth because she knows how deeply she is loved. And it healed all the cancer in her body. She was declared all her organs shut down. Her whole body was filled with cancer. And once she came back, because she felt the love and she saw the big picture of what's going here on, you know, everything that's happening on earth, she
Uh-huh.
saw the bigger picture, like from creator's eyes.
Yeah.
And she came
Perfect.
back and her whole body was healed. And now all she does is share her experience of the afterlife, and it helps heal people. And
Wow.
when I hear that, I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to share my story and share what I've been through my life to share with people that you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what terrible thing that you think you have done, you are still the most beautiful soul and loved, absolutely loved in the core of your being. And if you live that way, you, your life will just blossom and it'll
Yes.
just be beautiful and will create this beautiful new world that we all really want.
Yeah.
Deep down inside, we all want the same things. And
Yeah.
I want to share that. And I've been holding back partly because, well, my family, I have a mother that's a very strict religion who comes from a very strict religion, very closed, like it has to be their way or no other way is accepted.
Mm.
And I've been holding back because I don't. And yep, my mother will never listen to something like this. She won't listen to this podcast, you know. But I think me being able to tell my mother and just be clear with her and let her know this is my path
Mm.
is important because then I can openly share it with everyone.
Yeah.
And that is the thing nearest and dearest to my heart is that people know in the core of their being that they are just absolutely loved and that anything that they have shameful can be completely dissolved and returned to love. And is there anything greater? Is there
No,
anything
I
greater?
agree. And I believe you. I believe you with your entire being as well. And I believe it even more when I see how Mark looks at you when you're sharing all of this. So there's a lot of validation in the energy between you guys. So I really, I love seeing it. I'm admiring it and it's beautiful. I think there's nothing that's greater than love. Love is what I've always wanted more than anything. It was love that made me so angry at the end of the day or made me so
Yes.
so bad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I wanted to learn to love loudly and to not be shameful about it or not to think that I'm better than anyone or like that I think I'm worthy more or that I'm more special. It was never about that. I just wanted to experience what I saw that other people were experiencing as well. And I didn't want the shame of my past to be in the way of that. And I think all of us have a version of that. And by sharing our stories and seeking out professional help sometimes or just someone to talk to is so valuable.
Yeah.
I've definitely come to learn how incredibly abundant my life has been when I dare to see all of the beauty that actually do exist in my life. Because I've been focusing in
Oh,
on the things that wasn't working, the things that
yes.
wasn't well. And
Hmm.
when you look for that, when that's what you're focusing on, that's what you find. So when I
Yes.
started looking at all of the beautiful things, like on an evening walk the other day, I love to use the woods or the forest or nature in general as beautiful metaphors for life. And the other day I was out in the woods and it was nighttime and it's super cold. It's freezing outside. I'm not particularly a fan of Norwegian winter, but it's like, especially when it's close into like minus 20 Celsius degrees. Gosh. But then I walked and I look up at the sky and all of a sudden it just starts dancing with northern lights. And I was like,
Hmm.
Wow.
oh my
Oh,
gosh. It's
Wow.
like when you just look at the things around you, if you just dare look for it, it's so
yes.
much beauty in the world. And
Oh,
sometimes the universe can be so abundant and beautiful and strong and powerful. And yeah, we just miss it sometimes. We're not looking for it.
yeah, absolutely. The more that it's like when you buy a car and say we got a Chevy Sonic. So then we start noticing all the Chevy Sonics. You know, it's like so whatever you're looking for, you're gonna find,
Yeah.
exactly what you said.
Yeah, I'd like to add a personal practice for me for experiencing more love. It's along a different, we love nature. That's why we're up in the mountains and forests. When the weather warms up, that's when we go north. So we love that. We totally relate.
Waterfalls and rivers.
Deep forest. Oh my God, love it.
Yeah.
But there's another way that I feel loved. You know that you're familiar with the five love languages?
I am. I just read that book
Yeah.
actually. It had me
Per
bawling at the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So for me, touch is probably my primary love language. And a lot of times, so Lynette and I have this, I don't know if I call her practice, but I tend to wake up early morning, let's say 4:30 or so. Now, Lynette on her own could probably easily sleep until 8 or 9. But, well, first of all, we have this agreement, like if any of us is having any kind of internal problem, like something emotional coming up or thoughts, we have an agreement literally 24/7. Even if the other person's sound asleep, we can wake each other up and say, hey, I'm struggling with something. And we've done that for 12 years now. It's not all, it doesn't happen every day, but occasionally it comes up like, hey, I'm just whatever. And either of us will like, okay, I'm awake. What do we need to do? How can I help you?
Mhm.
So, so sometimes, so sometimes we wake up early, sometimes it's later, and we'll like cuddle in bed and talk usually, sometimes like sharing dreams, and processing our dreams because they often point to something that's going on internally.
Mm.
And we'll talk about what our goals are and just everything going. And we can easily spend 2 hours in bed cuddling and discussing whatever.
Mm.
And for me, sometimes it's not necessarily then, but it could also be the middle of the day, especially if I'm a little like frazzled or whatever, or just feel the need. I'll say, "Hey, can we cuddle?" And we'll just go to bed and start cuddling. And often Lynetta will like rub my head or rub my arm. And the moment she does it, for me, like my brain shuts off just like that. The
Mm.
moment she starts touching me. Now, Lynetta's not the same way. Touch does not do that for her. In fact, it could even be the opposite. That's a different story. But for me, I'm just instantly like, oh my God, that feels so good. But we've done extended bouts of this where she might be gently caressing me, and we're not even talking sexually, just, arms, whatever. And like within a half hour, I'll start to like open up, like to receiving more love.
Mm.
And sometimes, in fact, I get this point where I'll start to get what in Tantra they call it kriyas. It's kind of like a little orgasmic shake, maybe.
Mm.
Um, it's like, like throughout my body. And there are times when where I'll literally ask myself, can I open to love even more?
Mm.
And the moment I do that, it's kind of like, oh, and then I kind of shut it down. It's like there's something scary about that, probably from my past, but it's almost like a practice. Like occasionally we'll just do a session where she'll just caress me and I'll literally focus on being open to receiving it more.
Mm.
And my awareness is how much I'm actually blocking love unconsciously.
That is such a good question. I was thinking about that today. I even prompted it in my journal. How can I be able to open up and receive it more? It's kind of like some things that I was talking about earlier too. It's that feeling of like what I felt as though even like from a godly perspective, if I was thinking, if I was using the same logic with men and God in the sense that like men wants to please me, wants to make me happy, wants to provide for me, essentially. If I was thinking that God was constantly trying to love me, then I have just been dodging these blessings thrown my way because of what? Limiting beliefs, fear, not really knowing what to do with what I
Mhm.
hold. There's so many things to that. I'm so happy that you share that and that there's an actual tangible exercise you can try to ease into there where you're opening up for it in your own love language too, which I understand is like a very specific necessary point here is that you know what your love language is, which is why you know that
Mhm.
that is also the area in which you dare to open up a little bit more for it, but also recognize how scary it is. So thank you so much for sharing that. I thought that was beautiful.
And while I'm touching him, another something that I do is to tune in to how can I enjoy giving while I'm giving? Can I deepen in my receiving of the pleasure that I'm enjoying while I'm touching him? He can feel that
Oh my God.
when I do that.
Yeah, when one of us changes state, and like
Mm.
she'll do that, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? What are you doing? Because this feels like so much more delicious than normal touch. Like, what are you doing? And then she'll share, like, here's what she's doing internally. Like, we can feel each other's state changes when something's going on.
Yeah, like if I have a list in my head and I'm thinking about what I have to do after that, he can tell. He's
I'm
like,
like,
"Where
gonna
did you
what
go?
are
ask,
you
I was
what
gonna
are you
ask.
thinking about?
Where did you go?" Right?
Yeah, it's because I mean we can feel when people aren't connected with us on an
Yeah.
intimate level, or if they're even engaged in this
Hmm.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's energy, it's frequency. We pick up on that
Yeah.
stuff, and
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's why it's so frustrating for women sometimes, maybe, or at least something I find frustrating is that um it's kind of like it's hurting my feelings. It hurts what I like what I'm feeling because it's as if like I'm picking up on it, and then when I'm trying to communicate that like something's off here, but I can't really put my words on it because it's not so evident. What is
Uh,
that?
Yeah.
I'll give you some words.
Yeah.
Yes, please
Okay.
do.
What we love more than anything is presence.
Yeah.
Presence, when it's there. It's like somebody's like looking at you and they have attention and their head's not thinking about something. I'm just like totally tuned in and present with you, listening to you, tuning into you. Not just what are you saying, but maybe what's going on behind the scenes.
And we're so tuned in, like right now, I'm just so tuned into him. I'm even not aware of you or whoever's listening. I'm just so present with just him. There's nothing going on in the entire world except for this moment right here, right now with Mark.
Yeah, it's like 100% focus, but it's not like, okay, we're having a stare down.
Yeah.
Like who
Wow.
blinks first? No.
No.
No, it's like wanting to be totally with Lynetta. I want to be in her world. I
Yeah.
want to be, so to speak, merged with her. And in fact, we've even had a couple, I'd call them energetic merging experiences.
Where you feel like your body drops away and you're just,
The first year we were together, Lynetta moved in after about 2 months of, us knowing each other. And we were just lying in bed, weren't doing anything sexual. And then all of a sudden, it felt like our bodies just like were disappearing. And we were somehow touching each other energetically. It wasn't even a physical thing. And it left both of us breathless, like, what's going on? Do you feel this? It was like, whoa. It was almost beyond words.
and it's when there's total acceptance of each other, total acceptance, like radical acceptance of each other. There's literally nothing you can't be with the other. That's what takes down all the walls, all the
Yeah.
barriers. And when you remove and release all those barriers, all those walls, there's this energetic merging that goes on where you just feel like you're one being.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But you have to not have any judgments about the other person about they're wrong or should be different. It's like all that has to be gone
Yeah.
for you to have that 100% presence.
Yeah.
And like Lynetta could be struggling with something, and I will just have compassion, which is not the same as sympathy and feeling what she's feeling, just awareness and being with her. Even if she's struggling with something, I'm still 100% with her while not being in it. Very important distinction there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And his what we call holding space is just being present. I'm not going anywhere. You're leaning in,
Mhm.
not leaning away.
Right. And you're
being,
not thinking about what do you need to do to fix them
yeah.
or help
Yeah.
them. You're just present. And at most, like I love asking questions. So I'll ask questions like, you know, if she's capable, like, what's going on now? What are you feeling? If something needs processing,
Yeah.
you know. So we love, love, love presence.
Yeah.
Right. Intentional presence, it sounds like too. Like
Intentional.
Mhm.
There you go.
with that
I
space.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
one.
And in fact, I'd like to make a distinction, even though you haven't brought it up. We've coached a lot of couples, and one of the biggest differences between men and women is sex desire. And I'm not saying it's, there's a biological component. I think testosterone does have something to do with it, but then there's all the society stuff we've all been trained in also. But every couple we've coached, the men have more desire for sex than the women. Yeah, I'm not saying every couple's that way, but there has been somewhat of a
A theme
preponderance
there.
of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we tell the men, well, we bring up the word intimacy, and we'll usually ask, when you hear the word intimacy, what do you think of? And the men, when they hear intimacy, they think it means sex.
Yeah.
And the women, when they hear the word intimacy, they think it means
Communication.
communication. And the first thing we do is we say, hey, you guys mean different things by that.
Yeah.
You don't mean the same thing, and your needs are different. And to the men, I'll say, hey, pretty much I can guarantee you're always going to want sex with her more than she wants. It's pretty much guaranteed. I'm not going to say it applies for everybody.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm wrong, you can call me out. But
I think it's not my experience, but I know that this is true for so many. So I want you to
it's true, I think, for a lot of men. I'm not saying it's for everybody.
Yeah.
It may not be true for you.
Yeah.
I think it's because of my sexual trauma, but that's a different.
Oh, well, that could be.
Yeah.
That could be.
I have
And
a very different relationship with sex than a lot of people I've come to understand.
cool. And maybe at some point we can talk about that too, because we love every area is open to us.
Yeah.
But one of the things we say is that she wants closeness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not an always lead in to having sex. This is one of the hardest things for men to get. In other words, it's like some of the couples, like the woman said, once we got them to feeling free to voice everything, like, I would love to cuddle with him, but if I do, he's going to want it to lead to us having sex, and I don't want to have sex all the time. Some of the time, yeah, but not all the time. So we very often will have the couple make an agreement that there can be cuddling, and there's an agreement it's not an automatic lead-in for sex.
Right.
And then what happens is then there is more physical contact, which both of them enjoy,
Yeah.
without the pressure of it having to lead to sex.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice. I think that there's a lot to be said there, because I've noticed too with a lot of my girlfriends, sometimes what they say is that, well, if he wanted to have sex so much, like in the evening time, especially if there's kids involved, like if they have younger children, like if he wanted to have sex so much, like why isn't he putting in an effort during the day? Like she's like, if only he was kind of like helping me, like maybe holding me from behind while I was cooking dinner or doing dishes for like 10 seconds, or just like
If only.
Yeah.
I love
Right.
doing that, by the way.
Yes, I think like sometimes like women just want the sex to start way before the sex starts. It's a lot
Yeah.
about like foreplay. Like I think some things that I want in talk of like intimacy and all of that, like for me, it's just that it's so much more than just finishing to completion. It's everything that happens before, but then there's anything that happens after everyone is done and did also, which I think is also an
Yep.
important part of it.
It's very important. Yep.
And that's also going to differ from person to person, and something that I'm also kind of working through in terms of communication. Granted, that is just a new coupling, but I mean, nonetheless, this is an interesting space. But I just kind of tapping into a little bit what I was talking about myself is that I think I tied affection and love so much as when I was younger to how much I could be seen and validated by other men, and very often that kind of led to me giving more from myself than I wanted to, with the wrong intentions, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm saying when I mean like sexual trauma. I also have sexual trauma in my when I was really young, and I know that it morphed the way that I view sexuality and nakedness and all of that. So I've always been very comfortable with being naked, and all of that is essentially what I'm saying. And I think because of that, also because touch and is also my love language, it's very easy for me to dive in that intimate space. And then today it doesn't mean that like, oh, now you're validating my worth, which is the word we're not supposed to be using, but it's now the strongest way for me to express connection and having my love language met, which is the physical touch part of it. So it looks differently now than it did, but I've definitely been more on the offer side when it comes to that in terms of my own experience. I never I have found it funny when girls were struggling with like how much men wanted to have sex with them, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a beautiful problem. Like, sex is great. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? I'm like, why would you want to have fun? Like that
You
sounds
may not
awesome.
be the norm on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm telling you. I've come to realize, and there's
That
probably
it's
many
not.
reasons for that. Started off rather unhealthily, and then at this point, I just have a secure relationship with my own sexuality, I think, and that's what it's about. But
Yeah.
not to say that there's different stages of womanhood too. Like I don't know anything about like menopause, for instance. I know a lot of sexuality desires and stuff changes around then, and also all of the hormonal changes with becoming a parent. I have no idea. So who's to say that won't change? So nonetheless, it's great advice to show up in ways that are intimate and showing that connection without it leading to sex, for instance. I can see the value of that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's me because I went through menopause.
We
And
could speak for hours about
yeah,
that subject if
my
you want to do another
my
one.
drive went way down,
Oh,
you know, yeah, and I rather snuggle and cuddle and talk and, it just doesn't come up for me, I've tried, hormones and all of that, but they just didn't work for my body.
mm.
And so now, yeah, I think I know Mark would like more. Yes.
Yeah, that's probably been our biggest challenge is working
Yeah.
out the whole sexual dynamic,
Yeah.
especially with menopause and, but that's like a whole nother
That's
arena.
another show.
That's another
Yeah,
show.
I mean, I would
Sex.
love to have
We'll
a
do a whole show
devoted
just on
episode.
that.
We'll have a devoted episode on the struggles around it.
Yeah,
I would love
absolutely.
that because I mean, I could also do a little bit more research on what menopause even is and to even find some more information on that. So we can definitely do a follow-up on that. But for this
Yeah.
particular episode, is there anything we haven't talked about yet that you want to talk about?
Oh, I think we've covered everything. And you know what I really love sharing on when we do like this is something vulnerable, something that's really like, and I think I did that when I shared that. Another thing I think I'm afraid of is crying, like crying in the middle of the podcast or something. If I share something it's that raw and that deep,
Yeah.
that I'm gonna like start bawling. But yeah, that's the thing that creates real intimacy, with those who are listening.
Okay, so I'm going to prompt one of those, shall I?
Oh goodness.
So when I was prompting Lynetta earlier about her earlier life and her challenges, where she didn't go is that depression stage she mentioned.
Yeah.
It got so bad that she actually attempted suicide more than once.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really her low point.
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because on the second attempt,
Mm-hmm.
she heard a voice. You want to relay that?
Yeah, that said if if you end your life right now, you'll just reincarnate and come back in the same place you left off. And I was never raised to believe in reincarnation, so I don't know where this came from. I had
Yeah.
never read it, I had never heard it anywhere, but this voice just came in and said, if you do that, you're just going to come back and you're going to be right where you are right now. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to step up my game. I can't do this then. Because what, for me, having those thoughts and trying to exit stage left was about trying to escape my problems.
Yeah.
I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to, and then I heard, you're going to have to put one foot in front of the other and not just read the books that are, all these self-improvement books, but you're going to have to practice them. You're
Right.
going to have to do one step at a time. So open up your windows, get the sunshine in, take one step at a time. And then I heard you're going to have to bring joy in or it's not going to work. And I was like, joy? What is joy? I mean,
Mhm.
joy was so far away,
Oh.
from me. But I did start finding little moments of joy that started adding up. And
Mm.
that's my path. That was my path out of that dark place.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
And when
Yeah.
Lynetta shared
Mm.
all this, I said to her, thank God you found a way out.
Yeah.
Because if you had succeeded, I never would have met you and been with you, and that would have been a tragedy.
Yeah.
That brings tears to both of us.
That's so
That would be a tragedy if
yeah.
you hadn't found a way through.
Yeah.
That's why I admire this woman more than anybody, because
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that's like, and she's gone through it
Yeah.
and come out the other side.
Yeah. That's remarkable, Lynetta. Thank you so much for sharing so vulnerably and for opening yourself up, knowing how scary you think it is too. I mean, I feel in awe of you for daring to step into that space with me present, knowing that this is something that's intimidating to you. So thank you
Yeah.
for being vulnerable.
Yeah. Thank you for holding the space that we could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you
Absolutely.
can thank me for making you cry.
Oh,
It helps looking
I'm
into
like,
yeah.
eyes
you're
and
going to talk about it? No,
You're,
we're going to demo it.
you,
I mean,
I'm
you're
going to
doing
deal with
great.
you later.
Yeah, I'll get mine later. You can rest assured.
Oh, well, I mean,
Yeah.
the proof is in the pudding, right? What I see is two people in front of me who seems remarkably happy, and I'm really,
Mhm.
really blessed to be able to observe it. You know, I love love more than anything, and I'm willing to go
Mhm.
really, really far in order to make things work with the person who wants to make it work with me. And I think I'm well on my way for that right now. And
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
really, really happy myself these days. And a lot of it has
Mm.
to do with my ability to dare open up and receive. To
Yes.
Yep.
actually take all of the love in and to give space for him to be himself and not trying to change him into a woman. Do what a
Mhm.
woman would do just because that's easy.
Right. Right. Appreciate his qualities.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I want a
Yeah.
man. I don't want another woman.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Why
we
try
often
to
use
make him into one?
we use the terminology. I don't know if you may already know the divine feminine and the divine masculine.
I've
If
heard about, yeah, I know of these
yeah,
terms.
that's kind of like the way we look at what's possible
Mhm.
because both men and women have all these attributes they can call upon to elevate themselves in what they do. But
Mhm.
they also have the shadow side that has to be dealt with if they're going to be that.
Yeah,
So for somebody to really be that divine masculine, they've got to do all their shadow work, inner child work, and have that desire to really elevate themselves to be the greatest human being they can be and
yeah,
to have the greatest relationship they can
right.
have. Yeah.
Mhm.
Am I understanding it, Mark, if I say that what a man wants from their partner is they want to be respected, they want to be trusted, and they want to experience a sense of peace and to just kind of eliminate drama as far as I get it, and they want to be admired. Is that a kind of a safe assessment of what it is a man wants from their partner?
Well, I'm not going to generalize for all men.
Mhm.
We usually say seen, heard, and understood. You would
Mhm.
probably say the same for
Oh yeah.
men.
Yeah. 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 And also I'd say when you said that men really do want to
Give to
give
women.
to women,
Yeah.
and I'd say they'd even like to be the hero.
Oh, yeah.
You
They
want
would
to be
like
the
to
Oh,
be
yeah.
they would like to be her hero.
Yeah, I love being protective of Lynetta. It's like, oh, you're going bike riding? Don't forget your helmet. And Lynetta's like, don't control me. It's kind of a joke now, but
Oh, I
you
love
know,
that you're saying this.
I
I'm
know that he
loving this.
cares I know he's looking out for me, and
Yeah, in fact, this is one of the things we've had to deal with
yeah,
because one of Lynetta's go-to from her past,
it's
when I
don't
would say,
control me.
"Stop trying to control me,"
Yeah.
and I would literally say to her, "Honey, I'm not that man.
Yeah,
I just love you, and I just want you to be safe."
yeah,
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'll look her right in the eyes when I say it,
yeah.
and sometimes she'll even believe me.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing when I'm starting to understand. I've just misunderstood what all of this generosity actually means. I thought of myself as a burden in the process of it, and it's just stupid. It's just silly. I
Mhm.
mean, I understand where it came from. Of course, if I track back, I know where it came from, but I think
Hmm.
that's the awareness that's necessary in order to be able to open up and receive more. Because, yeah, I didn't
Hmm.
realize that was the hard part. I didn't
Yeah.
actually come to the conclusion that the love that I've been wanting my entire life, I didn't even know how to hold. So,
Yes.
You've been batting it away.
Yeah.
watching it, I've been like, oh, you don't love me? No, no.
Yeah. No, you can't love me. You can't
I don't
possibly
even know
love
how to love
me.
myself. Get away.
Exactly. That's
Exactly.
key right there, what you
Yeah. I
said.
don't even
I
love
don't even love
myself.
myself.
Yeah.
So there's no way you could really love me.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, sorry, this is going to have to bring us to another thing.
That you're gonna make me cry?
No, I'm not going to make you cry,
Okay.
but I'm going to out you.
Okay.
So we're going on our 12th year now of marriage,
Yeah.
and I've totally loved Lynetta, from the beginning. And Lynetta's always had in the back of her mind, yeah, but, she's always like, is this going to be another one of those relationships? And it's been in the background for most of our time together. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, you love me, but who knows?
Yeah, the jury's still out.
This shoe may drop,
The sh-
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So finally, to be a little more authentic here,
Yeah.
we've done a bunch of plant medicine journeys,
Mm.
and a couple of years ago, some acquaintances of us gave us some Molly, which we'd never done.
Mm.
And most people take Molly like to be more intimate, have better sex, whatever. And we were like, okay, we'll try it, kind of assuming we were going to have some kind of magical, sensual, sexual, intimate experience.
Mhm.
Not my wife.
No.
What happened basically is Lynetta ended up taking a double dose accidentally.
Oh,
Mm.
And it hit, when it finally hit, go ahead and describe your
Oh,
experience.
this voice came in so strongly that said, what?
Oh, I thought you were going to lead into it, but you can go right there. That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's like this voice just came in so strongly. It was like said, "This man loves you. Stop testing him." It was like a booming voice,
Now,
like, "Stop."
now I was just holding space for Lynetta. I wasn't really on the medicine,
okay.
Yeah.
because my stomach started to get up. So I was just holding space, lying next to her. She's lying in bed. She's kind of thrashing
My
about.
body's moving
Her
a lot.
body moves a
You
lot
know.
when she does journeying,
Yeah.
and then she just declares this thing. I'm listening to her declaring it. And I was like, wherever the voice came from, I was like, oh, thank you, God. Oh, or whoever. Finally, it's like she had to hear it from herself, whether you call it her
Right.
higher self. I don't even
Oh,
know. I don't even care. But she couldn't ignore her own declaration to
And it
herself.
was like another part of me inside was bowing, going, "Yes, yes,
Yes, I'll stop
yes,
resisting.
yes,
Yes, I'll believe he actually loves me.
yes." And it's like,
And
oh
that,
my
that
God, that's from all the trauma. That's from all the background, all the patterns that just kept repeating, like nobody could possibly ever love me.
right.
Nobody could possibly, if they knew everything about me,
There's
they would
no
run
way.
screaming for the hills.
Right. They would reject me. They couldn't possibly love all of me.
That was coming from because I didn't love all of me.
yeah.
I couldn't even be with all of me. There were parts to me that I didn't like. So how could he be with all of it and say, "Oh, I just love it all"?
That's
That's
man.
hard to swallow.
Oh, it's so interesting. All of this is so interesting. I mean, I think a part of me reading the entire book too was like, hey, at least now you know everything. Like now you know everything
Hmm.
about me. Like now you know
Mm.
what you're dealing with. Now you know the package.
Yes.
But
There's freedom in telling your whole story, Maggie. That was,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was,
there's
it
a
was.
lot of freedom
Yeah,
in just getting it all out
yeah.
and having it be expressed
Yeah.
fully.
No, I mean, I love this process. I love reading it for him. And I mean, I'm also really proud of what I have created. That's also a
Yeah.
huge part of it.
Mhm.
This is
Oh
my
gosh.
story, and I
Yeah,
do.
I want to hear your story. I want to hear all 200 pages of it.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, well, you are so welcome to read my book because I would love your
Yeah.
feedback on it. I mean, I'm really proud of this, what I'm creating, because it has been a journey of awareness, essentially. Getting to know
Yeah.
yourself better has been kind of my mantra on my business and on my podcast too. It's like stay curious and get to know yourself better. And I mean that because I've seen all the new ways in which I love myself greater. I take care of myself differently. I show up differently. And I'm also attracting different men as a result of it. And now I'm very much in love with the guy that I'm pretty sure is very much in love with me too. At least all
Yeah.
actions are suggesting it. And I feel love.
Mhm.
I think that's the greatest indicator.
Mhm.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel it.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that's a
Uh,
great indication.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
Mark and Lynetta, thank you so much for being here with me
Thank
today. I would
you.
love to have you guys on in the future as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time today, and
Thank you.
really
Thank you for having us. It's our honor.